Welcome to the Pint Glass Football Podcast.
Pint Glass Football. I'm your host, Brad Fowler. What's up, PGF Nation? It's time for NFL Week 3 and College Football Week 4, our preview episode and betting picks, of course. We got to get back on the winning side this week, but joining me, of course, my co-host, Alex Higdon. Alex, what is going on?
Hey, Brad, I think we're looking up. We need to really start to beginning to have a conversation in the next 2 weeks about these rookie quarterbacks. They need to start picking it up and start flashing here.
Oh, man, Alex, 2 weeks in, you're already talking about the rookie quarterbacks being a letdown. That's crazy.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think, again, I'm looking for some flashes, some of the things that we saw. You know, Jane Daniels was kind of going down the field a little bit more. I get it, and I'm not overreacting to any quarterback whatsoever, more the coaching Sean Payton than anything else, but I'm looking for a big flash. I'm looking for somebody to have a game or really just put together a solid game, passing, running the ball, and some touchdowns. But you know what, Brad? If we take a look at the passing across the league overall, it's really down when Gardner Minshew is one of your top three passers in this league right now.
Yeah, I think right now, we're seeing a shift in the way defenses are attacking offenses right now. And I think for the first time in the last several years, we're seeing defenses really get the upper hand. They're kind of ahead of the offense because we're seeing so much cover two that are really taking away the big passing plays, the big plays down the field, those explosive plays. They're forcing offenses to run the ball more. They're forcing offenses to be more methodical and take the underneath stuff. Offenses are having trouble adjusting. To your point, Alex, there's a lot of really good veteran quarterbacks who aren't putting up great numbers right now. So I'm not ready to panic just yet on these quarterbacks. As the season goes along here, I think we're going to see more from these guys. And I think we're going to see the offensive coordinators start to adjust here in how they attack these defenses. But predicting what's going to happen, that's what this episode is all about, Alex. We're going to look ahead to the NFL Week 3, College Football Week 4. We've got some games that we've circled for you guys that we're going to dive into. Alex, let's start with the Thursday night football game because everybody's going to be watching, of course, New England Patriots at the New York Jets. Right now, the Jets are a 6.5 point favorite here. Does that number seem too high, Alex? What do you think of this game?
Yeah, this number actually may be too high simply because that offense hasn't gotten on the roll. Now, what I do think is New York really looked at something last week in Braylon Allen with Breece Hall and seeing a tandem, which I had been saying since the beginning of the season with the offensive line. They should be playing bully ball similar to what we saw a few weeks ago from the Lions. They should be lining up and bowling everybody over. This should definitely go under, basically shut New England out.
Oh, so you really like the Jets here in this matchup?
Yeah, I like the Jets a lot, and I think the defense needs a power. They need to show some power. They haven't looked as strong as they've looked the last 2 years, and I think this is a get-right game for the defense.
Yeah, I can see that. On the offensive side, the Jets offense really showed a little more life, especially in the second half last week versus the Titans. I'm wondering if they can kind of take that momentum into this week. That Pats defense, even though they've been good, they gave up a lot of big plays against that Seahawks team. I'm wondering if, to your point, Alex, if this defense can kind of get right for the Jets. On paper, we know how talented they are. They've lost some key players already with Jermaine Johnson going down. I think that's a big loss up front, but I think there's enough depth, especially in that front seven, that they're going to be okay. I like the Jets here too. I think the Jets find a way to win this game, but from a betting standpoint, I think 6.5 points in a divisional game on a short week. Give me the Pats plus 6.5, but I'll take the Jets to win this game. Philadelphia Eagles at the New Orleans Saints. Saints are a 1.5 point favorite. Look, the Eagles are a team that's probably sitting here thinking they should be 2-0 versus a Saints team that's really a surprising 2-0. This offense has been on fire. Now, they blow out the Panthers week 1, but I think week 2, following up with another blowout win versus the Cowboys, I think opened a lot more eyes. I like what I've seen from the Saints here. The Eagles are a team that we predicted would take a step back this year. I'm not buying Eagles stock by any means here. Give me the Eagles on the road. I know it's a tough environment. It's a tough matchup, and I understand the point spread being close for a reason here. But I think this is a bounce back spot for the Eagles and a letdown spot for the Saints.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with you here. New Orleans give it up 2.5. I think this will be a get right game. I don't know if AJ Brown is going to play, so it could get interesting with the over under. But I think we see a big game from Saquon Barkley, who's taking it really hard in terms of that loss against Atlanta. So maybe this is a get right game for him personally. But I will say this, Brad, we're going to have to start tracking Jalen Hurts throughout the season, because he's been on a downtrend ever since that Super Bowl run that he had. It's going to get real interesting in Philadelphia if he doesn't start to have to clean up his game a little bit.
LA Chargers at the Pittsburgh Steelers. I've seen this line moving, Alex. I've seen a 1-point spread, a 1.5, and a 2-point spread here. Steelers, slight favorite at home. The Steelers, I think, have the better defense here. I think the Steelers have the better roster, but I think there is a big advantage at the most important position, which is quarterback. Who do you like here in this game, Alex?
Oh, I'm taking the Steelers, and I'm taking the Steelers big here in terms of I don't think Los Angeles gets to double digits. I know they have a power running game. I know a lot with Control Alt Delete, aka Joel Alt, has been doing. I know what that offensive line looks like, but I look for Pittsburgh here to bear down, stop that run, and force Justin Herbert to win with his arm. And we don't know enough about these wide receivers. I know it's been cute looking at Quentin Johnston, but when you're going to force Justin Herbert to throw 25 to 30 times as opposed just to 15 to 20, because that running game will not be what it has been the past 2 weeks. He did look good against Max Crosby, but it was only 11 snaps, but he did look good. Let's see how you handle that pass rush in TJ Watt. But I look for this team to be able to run against Los Angeles and also to be able to sneak some passes with George Pickens. I look for Pittsburgh to stomp them out, and I will lay the 1.5 and take Pittsburgh.
Yeah, we're opposite sides on this one, Alex. I think I see an upset here for the Chargers. I think that this line is telling me something here with Pittsburgh being such a short home favorite. I think Vegas knows something here, and I think it's that the Chargers match up really well. Look, Fields has been efficient, I guess you could say, not turning the ball over, making just enough plays. I don't think that's good enough versus a good team like the Chargers. Now, look, I don't know how good the Chargers are just yet, but I like what I've seen from this team. I think they keep it going here, and I think they win this game and shock some people with a big win over Pittsburgh. Baltimore Ravens at the Dallas Cowboys. This might be one of the better matchups here of the weekend. Now, look, the Ravens have been a shocking 0-2 start for them. Cowboys get blown out last week, like we talked about, against the Saints. This one's kind of a hard one to figure out because I think these teams are kind of tough to figure out. I know one thing, though. I actually trust the 0-2 Ravens a lot more than the 1-1 Cowboys right now. I think after watching what the Saints did and being able to move the ball against that Dallas defense, I think they're going to have a tough time with Derrick Henry. I think they're going to get him going. I think Lamar is going to get going with the RPO game. I don't like this matchup for Dallas. We talked about Dallas taking a big step back this year. I think this might be the start of that step back.
I'm so tired of Ravens and the excuses that they have for Lamar Jackson, whether it be the fans or whoever, whether it be the pundits already. Enough is enough. This is a 6-year veteran. He needs to learn to throw the ball outside the lines and start using the entire field and stop just simply looking at the middle of the field. It's not always coaching people. Yes, it can be the quarterback. And no one's expecting him to be Patrick Mahomes, but I'm expecting him to start throwing the ball more outside the lines. When you look at the All-22, he is getting a lot of looks on that outside. The quarterback, is refusing to take them and stay in his comfort zone of simply throwing over the middle. Yes, I can admit as a Raider fan, they should have run the ball a lot more because they were running at a big clip and they were punishing us. But I can take that and also understand the quarterback then has to also do his job as well. Now, what I will say is I'm going to take Dallas here. I'm going to lay I'm going to take the 1 point because they are favored by 1. But I'm going to take Dallas here because I don't think they've truly figured out what to do about the right side of that line with Danielle Falea, I believe, in the rookie out of Washington there. And also, the one thing about they lost their offensive line coach, I always consistently mention that, but Zach Orr, who's an up-and-coming defensive coordinator, he's new as well. There's a lot of confusion going on in that defensive backfield. You can see it in last week's game, and now here comes big bad CeeDee Lamb. They're going to have some problems. They're going to have some big problems, and Dallas is going to get off the schneid and win this game.
Wow. All right, Alex. Man, not holding anything back here. Is Lamar Jackson overrated? Do we need to have a conversation here, Alex?
No, he just needs to get better. He's a very good quarterback. People can put him in the top 5. He's definitely a top 10, but he needs to expand his vision. If you remember the Madden cones, he would be the person that will have the skinny Madden cone that gets wide only over the middle and slim on when he's looking outside left and right, because he does not want to throw the ball outside the hash marks.
Sunday Night Football, Kansas City, 4-point favorites at the Atlanta Falcons, who just came off of that big comeback win against the Philadelphia Eagles. Chiefs, of course, had that close win, just knocking off the Bengals in that great Week 2 matchup that they had. Falcons are playing on a short week, though. I'm just not sure if they're ready for this test. I'm a little surprised by the line here. I think if Atlanta loses that game, this line is probably 7 points. We're probably looking at a full touchdown difference here. So for me, I think this line is a little bit inflated because of that win, that last second win that they had against the Eagles. I don't like the way they match up against the Chiefs here. I think the Chiefs have the defense. I think they have the players to match up and slow down what they want to do. And I don't think Atlanta's pass rush will have any success getting pressure on Mahomes. To me, that's a recipe for failure. Give me the Chiefs here. I'm going to lay the points. I think that they run away with this one.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, back-to-back Kirk Cousins primetime wins. When has that happened? Let that be a trivia question for the audience. So I don't see that happening. However, I think they do keep it close, because one thing that we saw, and shout out to the good folks at Sport Narrative, I did go back and look at the tape. They were doing something, which was running those defensive tackles sideline to sideline and seeing how fast they can get. So that's something that will be able to be looked at against Kansas City if they use that same, if they attack the Kansas City Chiefs the same way to keep, because we know the number one way to stay close with Kansas City, if you don't have the firepower, is to keep Patrick Mahomes on the sideline. And with Bijan Robinson and Algiers, and if Kyle Pitts ever decides to show the talent that I show him in Madden, they can really keep Kansas City off of the field here. But I'm in agreement with you. They're going to be on point. We're going to see some new wrinkles. As we know, Isaiah Pacheco is out for the next 6 to 8 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. They did sign Kareem Hunt, so he's now back in the fold and very familiar with that offense. I think this could be a big game for Travis Kelce, fantasy alert, to get off the schneid and get his first score of the season.
Detroit Lions at the Arizona Cardinals. Lions 3-point favorite on the road here. Cardinals are coming off of that big win over the Rams. Look, they looked really good. They were really sharp. The offense came to life. Kyler Murray played great. Marvin Harrison had a breakout game. I do think the Lions secondary could have some issues in this game, but I really don't like the way Arizona matches up against that physical offensive line, that running game, and that offense for the Lions. I think this is a ball control game for them. I think they push around that Arizona defense and really keep Kyler and that offense on the sideline with some long punishing drives. I like the Lions here in a big bounce back spot. And once again, a big letdown spot for Arizona. Anytime you've got a team like the Lions who had a big upset loss against the Bucs last week, and you've got Arizona coming in really riding high after the best game they've played in a long time, this is the perfect spot to take the Lions.
And this is the perfect spot to continue my narrative that Kyler Murray is back and going to have a great year. And Marvin Harrison is going to continue to have another good game. Maybe not as big as last time, but I'm taking the Cardinals and the points. I think people are going to see something different from the Cardinals here. They have a power running game too, and it starts with James Conner and it ends with with Benson. And I don't think people have been paying attention to their running game because they're a little bit more enamored with what happened with Kyler and his elusiveness, and then the throws to Marvin Harrison. That running game needs to be applauded, and so does that offensive line. I'm going to take the Cardinals here to shock the Lions.
If Kyler's back, when was he ever good?
Oh no, he was only good for what, those 10 games
Right.
where they went 10-0, and then he's just been hurt and bad. He was bad, he flashed, and then he was good, and then he's been bad and hurt, and now I think he's rededicated and focused. And we don't have a Call of Duty. So what else does he have to do?
Let's wrap it up with the Monday Night Football games. Look, these aren't great matchups, but we know you guys are going to be watching PGF Nation because everybody watches Monday Night Football. And we've got a Monday Night Football double header here. Jacksonville Jaguars at the Buffalo Bills. Bills are a 5.5-point favorite in this one. Bills coming into this game with extra rest. They're 2-0. This might be one of the best looking Bills teams we've seen in a while here. They've really carried over that momentum from last season. The second half of last season, I've brought it up on the pod before, when they made the change at offensive coordinator and they started bringing balance to this offense, using James Cook, running the football, they've looked like a completely different football team. And I think the Bills look really good again to start the year. Jacksonville, on the other hand, has been atrocious. What in the world was that last week? I don't know how many opportunities they had and blew it. Trevor Lawrence looks awful. This offense looks awful. This team is a mess right now. I've got Buffalo big here. I think they roll in this one. I don't think the Jags are able to keep up with Buffalo. I think they control this game in the trenches, and I think Josh Allen, of course, is too much for the Jags.
I'll say this. I think this may be some sort of a breakout game for Keon Coleman. I would take a touchdown prop bet on him, but I'm going to take the 5 in Jacksonville, even though I think Doug Peterson is on the hot seat. I think Jacksonville is going to come in here and they're going to be able to run the ball with Bigsby and Etienne. And we're going to see a battle of the rookie wide receivers, like I said, Keon Coleman, but Brian Thomas as well. He's been flashing a lot every single game. I think we're going to see a battle of the rookie wide receivers here with Brian Thomas and Jacksonville coming out on top.
The second Monday night game, Washington Commanders at the Cincinnati Bengals. I've seen 7.5 points. I've seen 8 points, depending on what sportsbook you're looking at. Bengals as a big favorite in this one. And look, I totally understand why. Bengals are 0-2, but they've looked a lot more impressive than the 1-1 Commanders. I think this is a mismatch here. I think Joe Burrow has a big game. I think they're too much for this Commanders team to handle. Look, the Commanders won a game last week without scoring a touchdown. That's not going to happen very often in the NFL. Jaden Daniels has been all dink and dunk underneath stuff or running the football and being reckless when he does so. Give me the Bengals. I think they roll in this one, and they cover the 8 points.
Again, we've been talking about get right a lot. Well, this will be a get right game for Jamar Chase. Emmanuel Forbes, good luck. But the Bengals need to get back on the winning side of things. That AFC North looks completely upside down at the moment from what most of the pundit predictors, or as well as ours. But look for the Bengals to get back on the winning side of things, and look out for Zach Moss. They need to start pounding the ball more because they're not using their running game the way that they should. They're getting too enamored with their pass game. Run the ball, get Mike Gesicki involved, and then knock him over the top with Chase.
Did you know that Pint Glass Football is more than just this podcast? We have an exclusive newsletter. Sign up for free at pintglassfootball.com to receive articles and insights delivered straight to your inbox. But wait, there's more. We're excited to announce our brand new YouTube channel. Not only can you listen to our podcast on YouTube, but you'll also find exclusive video content waiting for you. So hit the pause button right now and go subscribe to our newsletter, and hit that subscribe button on YouTube to stay connected with the latest football news and our exclusive content. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. We personally love the pick'em game. Just pick between 2 and 5 players to build a pick'em entry. Pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's game for a chance to win big. You can win up to 20 times your money in a single night. Download the Underdog Fantasy app and sign up today with promo code PGF. That's promo code PGF to claim your special pick plus first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. The official ticketing app of Pint Glass Football is now SeatGeek. I can't recommend them enough, guys. I've been using SeatGeek for years. You want to go to a game this season? SeatGeek is here to take the confusion out of buying tickets, making sure you get the best seats at the best prices. With SeatGeek, you'll never have to worry about overpaying for tickets again. How? They put a 0 to 10 score on each ticket, so you know you're getting a good deal. But here's the real game changer. You can get $20 off your first ticket purchase with the code PGFPOD. That's right, $20 off with code PGFPOD. This season, make every game day epic with SeatGeek. Download the SeatGeek app and remember to enter the code PGFPOD to grab your $20 discount. Alex, let's look at the Saturday slate here. Some college football games that we like. Illinois at Nebraska. Look, coming into the year, I don't think this was a game that anybody circled. Dylan Raiola has been awesome. The true freshman, the 5-star, the big-time recruit that decommitted from Georgia and shocked everybody when he decided to go to Nebraska. He has been a difference maker for this team. You're starting to hear the Patrick Mahomes comparisons. You're starting to hear some of the Caleb Williams comparisons. And I get it. He has a very similar style to those guys, but obviously young player here, but a lot of talent. Illinois has been one of the most surprising teams to start the year. They're an 8.5-point favorite. Nebraska is. I think there might be some value with Illinois here because 8.5 is a lot of points. I think Nebraska finds a way to win this game, especially because I like the quarterback matchup here. And like I said, I love what I've seen from Dylan Raiola. But I'm going to take the 8.5 with Illinois. I think they find a way to make this interesting, to make this a close football game.
Well, I'll say this. I know there's a lot of talk. I mean, the closest thing that Dominic Raiola to me has at Patrick Mahomes is maybe the haircut. I've seen an arm angle here or there, but he's only going to be here for a year. He's going to be out of there. GJ Lagway's leaving Florida. That's my narrative on every quarterback going forward. So, but I will take Nebraska here in a close one. No, I think Dominic Raiola is going to be able to show some things. He's growing. I can see that they're expanding the playbook on a Saturday to Saturday basis. So I'm going to take Nebraska here.
We've got a good one in the Big 12, Utah at Oklahoma State. Two teams that a lot of people were picking to possibly win the Big 12. This matchup could go a long way in deciding who wins this conference. Utah is a 1.5-point favorite right now. This line has been moving here towards Oklahoma State. So keep an eye on that here because we've seen some movement. So that tells me that there's some sharp money here coming in on Oklahoma State in this game. They're at home, and we know that that's going to be a tough place for Utah to play over in Stillwater. Look, I like Utah in this matchup, though. This is a team that is physical. They've got an experienced quarterback in Cam Rising. I think they're going to run the ball, control the clock, and really take it to Oklahoma State here. This should be a heck of a game here. Now, don't get me wrong. Ollie Gordon, the running back for Oklahoma State, might be one of the best in the country. This guy's fantastic. They're going to be able to run the ball as well. I just think that Utah makes a few extra plays in this one. Close game, definitely one I'm excited to watch. I'll take Utah, though.
Yeah, I'm big on Utah. Big being the operative word there. I think they have in the Big 12, they have the biggest and best O-line, the biggest and best defensive line, and this game will be won in the trenches. I know Oklahoma State, known to having a lot of speed, always has a lot of speed. I think a lot of speed gets neutralized with a lot of penetration. This conversation sounds crazy. Pause, but I'm going to take Utah since I took them to win the Big 12. I'm going to take them here. And where's Cam Rising? Is he ever going to come back and play?
Reports are now coming out, too, that Utah's quarterback Cam Rising is expected to play in this game Saturday versus Oklahoma State. He had a hand injury. But overall, I just think Utah, the roster, the coaching, I think there's a little bit of a mismatch here, but I think this is going to be a heck of a ball game. How about in the ACC, Alex? North Carolina State at Clemson. Clemson's a big favorite in this one. I'm looking at one book has them as a 19.5-point favorite. Look, am I crazy or is that just way too many points? Is this Clemson team just getting recognized more for its brand and the logo on the helmet at this point?
Yeah, Brad. Clemson, I don't know what's going on there. I actually don't even know why Dabo is still there. I expected him to leave in the previous 2 years. I'm not sure what they're still there. Maybe they're waiting to go to SEC and get destroyed so he can leave. But this is an upset alert. This is an upset special for me. NC State's going to beat Clemson.
Wow, calling the outright upset. I like it. I mean, look, I don't think North Carolina State has looked great by any means, but Clemson being almost a 20-point favorite versus anyone at this point seems a little bit crazy. I like North Carolina State to cover. I don't have the guts to go outright winner like you do, Alex, but I think they find a way to make this interesting because I'm just not buying into what I've seen from Clemson in recent weeks.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know what is going on in Clemson. They kind of fell off after Trevor Lawrence. They just kind of fell off the face of the earth. I don't know what's going on. They were I don't want to say wide receiver you. They had consistently been getting and putting into the league great wide receivers. We know we went from not from Deshaun, but you had Deshaun and then you had Trevor Lawrence. It's ever since they got DJU in the building, and perhaps maybe it's the DJU curse because wherever he goes, it just gets worse after when he gets there. So maybe that's what their problem is. They need to purge themselves of missing on DJU and really get back to what they do best.
How about USC Michigan? Welcome to the Big Ten Trojans, going to the big house to play the defending national champs. But look, they haven't looked like the national champs. We know this is a team that lost a ton of talent to the NFL draft. Jim Harbaugh is now coaching the NFL, and they haven't looked like the same team. They've been a little shaky, to say the least here. USC obviously had that big win against LSU. They've looked pretty good to start the year. I just don't know if Michigan can hang with USC's offense in this one. Now, look, USC, according to some of the books I'm looking at, is about a 5.5-point favorite. I think USC could pull away in this one. I love what I've seen from Miller Moss. I love what I've seen from the play calling and the speed, and I really love what I've seen from the new defense coordinator at USC. This defense looks completely different than the team we saw the last 2 years. I think this is a mismatch here. I think USC goes into the big house and pushes Michigan around, and I think they have a really hard time keeping up. Now, look, they've got a new starting quarterback, Alex Orji. Maybe he can give them a spark. Maybe that keeps them in this game, but look, I'm not betting on it. Give me USC. I'm going to lay the 5.5 points and feel comfortable about it.
Yeah, I'm with you, Brad. There, I'm gonna lay the 5 and take USC. I don't know what's going on in Michigan right now. I know Donovan Edwards is hurt. Actually, let me not say I don't know what's going on. We all know what's going on. The draft came. They lost a lot of their players. Some people transferred, so they're in a little bit of a standing pat and holding steady mold right now. Their quarterback that they brought in is not good. They're turning back to Alex Orji. But I think USC, in their welcome to Big Ten big time game here, they're going to welcome Michigan to USC football.
Welcome to the SEC moment for Oklahoma playing Tennessee. Tennessee is a 6.5-point favorite. Look, this matchup really boils down to one thing for me. Oklahoma offensive line going up against the Vols defensive line. That defensive line is one of the best in the country, and this Sooners O-line has been shaky at best. To be honest, they've been downright bad, and I think that's going to spell trouble for this Oklahoma offense. I think Tennessee gets after them, and I think this thing can get ugly here just because on the line of scrimmage, I think they have a major mismatch here. Give me Tennessee. I'm going to lay the 6.5 points in this one. I think they roll the Sooners.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking Tennessee here. Huge Nico fan, had been talking about him since he was, I believe, the number 2 behind Arch Manning in his class. Love what I've seen from him. They need to stop running him so much. But on this stage, I expect Nico to show why he is who I think he is.
If you enjoy the podcast, do us a favor and subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Once again, I'm Brad Fowler. He's Alex Higdon. This is Pint Glass Football, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Pint Glass Football Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Twitter at PGF Podcast.
Zencastr is the ultimate web-based podcasting solution. It provides high-quality audio and video podcast production and hosting. With a full suite of professional tools, podcasters can seamlessly record, produce, and publish studio-quality content all from one dashboard. Zencastr's post-production process takes the headache out of audio production. Set the right podcast loudness and levels while reducing background noise with a click of a button. Coordinating all your guests to record in person is painful and tedious. Easily invite up to 11 participants per recording with one click. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use my code PGFP, and you'll get 30% off your first 3 months of Zencastr Professional. I want you to have the same easy experiences I do for all my podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story.